Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Onyx brew guide. I'm your host Elika, here with a brand new coffee. So if you go to our website, you'll see to browse our coffees, there's a Learn More tab. If you click that, you're gonna learn about the farm, even its elevation. You'll learn about the farmer, you'll learn about the varietal, the processing method, and you'll also see some recommended recipes for how to brew that coffee. Today I'm gonna give you a look into how I come up with those recipes, and we're also gonna see how you can dial in your own coffee at home. Today we're starting with a coffee that I haven't even tasted yet. This is our new Burundi Munkazi, natural processed bourbon from Burundi. This is a pretty new coffee, not only for me, but for Onyx. If you look at the flavor notes on this Munkazi, you'll see plum, raw sugar, milk chocolates, and raisin as those flavor notes. Not the traditional profile we would see from like a natural Ethiopian of like blueberries and raspberry. If you go onto YouTube and find the Onyx Coffee Lab YouTube channel, you can find a very detailed Kalita wave recipe that Dylan Siemens made several years ago. That's the Kalita wave recipe that we use in all of our cafes. And it's the wave recipe that I'm gonna start with this coffee because it's so new to me. So I'm gonna start with 25 grams of this coffee, 400 grams of water on the Kalita wave. We're gonna speed through the actual brewing process, but we're gonna get into the tasting portion and how my coffee tastes dictates what changes I would make to this recipe and this grind size. All right, so we actually finished draining here at 320. So a little bit faster than my target was. But again, this is the first time I've brewed this coffee. But taste is key. So like I said, the flavors I'm expecting from the cupping table are plum, raw sugar, milk chocolate, and raisin. So I expect a little bit of tartness, but from what the grounds told me is this should be a pretty chocolatey coffee. All right, so tasting this coffee and what happened as this coffee cooled is it's really tart up front. Like I get that plum note, but it's not very deep in sweetness. I'm not getting that raw sugar. I'm not getting a long-lasting milk chocolate and raisin finish. It's definitely not as deep a sweetness as I would expect from a dried fruit like a raisin, especially because I'm getting this spike of acidity and pretty much no aftertaste. I'm guessing, based on this flavor, that I've not extracted enough of this coffee. I need to spend more time with this coffee to extract more of those sugars and those oils to give me a richer texture and a longer lasting sweetness. I'm gonna brew again, this time with a finer grind setting. I'm gonna choose one variable, and for right now, that's gonna be my grind size. This is going to slow the drain time because grinding finer increases your surface area, makes it easier for this water to get in and extract. This one finished draining at 330. It was draining a little bit slower, but wow. That smells much sweeter out of the cup though. So didn't gain quite as much as I thought I would from the change. It smells a lot sweeter. The biggest difference I taste right now is just the amount of sweetness. It's a very sweet cup now. I get that plum, but it's like fresh plum. Milk chocolate is a little bit more subtle than I expected from this. Yeah, that's a very good cup. All right, so we got it dialed in only 2 tries, which it doesn't always happen that way for me. You can use the bag to help you dial in the coffee if you have a recipe that you really like. I want to have an idea of what happens if this coffee drains too long. So immediately, acidity, very mellow. Almost non-existent. And it turns into It's like generic cocoa flavor. It's not very sweet. This is really it's just one of the blandest things I could describe. When we're dialed in, when we're balanced, I get that sweet and tart plum. I get a long-lasting sweetness. I get creamy milk chocolate, a very silky mouthfeel, and this dried raisin aftertaste. This is a really great cup of coffee. And again, even if you've had a natural coffee before, this is definitely not typical of what I would expect. Overall, it's a very clean natural. These flavors were very crisp, transitioning, very approachable, especially for the natural processed. And if you're feeling adventurous, maybe not in the sense of finding a really complex coffee, but a very different coffee, I think you'll really enjoy this Burundi. So, alrighty y'all, cheers and happy brewing.